The Lavender Witch, Quest of the Supreme. In realms woven from twilight and scent, Kelvin, the Lavender Witch, stood poised. Her quest was simple, her title, absolute, to prove herself the supreme. Before her, the sky fractured, heralding the arrival of her first trial. From the tier in the heavens coiled Qinglong, the azure dragon. His scales shimmered like 1,000 emeralds, and his roar was the sound of a storm breaking over an ancient sea. He was power incarnate, the first beast of the celestial trial. Kelvin raised her wand, a graceful arc against the tempestuous sky. "Sleep," she whispered, and from her wand tip, a deep purple mist billowed forth, thick with the lulling scent of 1,000 lavender fields rolling towards the great dragon. But Qinglong was a creature of wind and fury. With a single mighty exhale, he blew the soporific cloud away, scattering the magic like dust. His golden eyes narrowed, and with a lunge that blurred the air, he lunged towards the witch. Kelvin didn't flinch. With a flick of her wrist, her lavender wings beat once, propelling her sideways in a blink of violet light. Qinglong's massive jaws snapped shut on empty air, the sound echoing like cracking mountains. He twisted his long body, furious at the miss. "You are quick, little witch," Qinglong's voice rumbled, not from his mouth, but in her mind. "But the sky is my domain." He whipped his tail, a colossal appendage that moved faster than thought, aiming to swat her from the air. Kelvin spun, her wand tracing a circle before her. Shield, a shimmering dome of lavender energy bloomed around her, just in time. The dragon's tail struck the barrier with immense force, sending cracks spiderwebbing across its surface and a deafening boom across the heavens. The shield held, but the impact sent her hurtling backward. Qinglong pressed his advantage, opening his maw to unleash a torrent of azure lightning. The bolts of raw power screamed through the air, aimed at her fractured defense. Thinking fast, Kelvin dissolved her failing shield and pointed her wand at the amethyst island below. "Rise," she commanded. A colossal shard of amethyst, sharp as a spearhead, erupted from the island and shot upwards, intercepting the lightning storm in a shower of purple and blue sparks. The explosion of neutralized energy gave Kelvin a moment's peace. She swept her wand towards the ground again. "Bind," she commanded. From the amethyst rock, thorny lavender vines erupted, impossibly fast. They lashed out, wrapping around Qinglong's powerful limbs and torso, seeking to ensnare him. The dragon bellowed in rage. He flexed, muscles like mountains shifting beneath his skin. The magical vines groaned, stretched, and then snapped with reports like thunderclaps. Qinglong was free, more furious than before. "Tricks and traps," Qinglong roared aloud this time. "Face true power." He inhaled deeply, and the very air grew cold. From his throat he unleashed not fire or lightning, but a cone of absolute frost, seeking to freeze the witch solid. Kelvin met the frost with her own magic. She spun her wand like a propeller, creating a vortex of warm, lavender-scented air. The magical heat met the dragon's frost, and a thick, swirling fog instantly enveloped the battlefield, obscuring everything from view. Within the fog, Kelvin was in her element. The scent of lavender was everywhere, a part of her own being. "Days," she whispered. The fog itself seemed to coalesce into a dozen illusory copies of herself, all darting and weaving around the disoriented dragon. Qinglong roared in frustration, snapping at the phantoms. He blasted lightning and frost wildly into the mist, but struck only empty air. Each time he thought he had her, the image would dissolve into a puff of lavender petals. While he was distracted, the true Kelvin emerged from the mists. A flick of her wand, a murmured incantation, and the air filled with a high-pitched hum. A swarm of luminescent lavender bees, each a tiny spark of stinging light, materialized and descended upon the great dragon. As Qinglong thrashed, disoriented by 1,000 tiny stings, Kelvin gathered her power, clearing the fog with a wave of her hand. This was the test. "Burn!" she commanded, and the air around the dragon ignited not with heat, but with a spectral lavender fire that radiated an intense, strength-sapping cold. Qinglong roared in defiance, opening his jaws to unleash his own azure flame. But where his fire met Kelvin's, it did not clash. It simply vanished, extinguished by the profound cold. The spectral fire clung to him, and he felt his ancient power begin to wane. "My turn to be the storm," Kelvin declared, her voice calm but resonant with power. She raised her wand to the twilight sky. Dark, lavender-hued clouds gathered instantly, crackling not with lightning, but with the raw, untamed magic of her will. From the magical storm, a single, massive bolt of solid lavender energy descended. It was not a flicker of light, but a crushing pillar of force. It struck Qinglong's back, slamming the mighty dragon down onto the amethyst island with a ground-shaking impact. Pinned and weakened by the cold fire and the crushing blow, Qinglong struggled, but his strength was failing. He looked up at the witch floating above him, her lavender wings beating slowly, her expression serene. He saw not but judgment. With a final, desperate roar, Qinglong gathered the last of his celestial energy. The horn on his snout began to glow with blinding azure light. He would not be defeated so easily. He unleashed this final power as a piercing beam of pure energy, a last-ditch effort to strike down his foe. Kelvin simply raised a hand, and the dragon's desperate beam dissipated into harmless sparkles against an invisible barrier. She poured her very being into her wand, unleashing a concentrated surge of pure lavender essence. It shot across the space between them, a bolt of incandescent violet light, and struck the weakened dragon squarely in the chest. The light faded, and where the colossal dragon had been, a small, serpentine creature no bigger than her hand hovered in the air. It bowed its head and offered forth a single, glowing scale that pulsed with a blend of azure and lavender light. As Kelvin reached out, the scale flew to her, absorbing into her chest. Power, ancient and immense, flooded through her. Her physical form dissolved, replaced by an ethereal being of pure lavender energy. As she reveled in the change, blue flames erupted nearby, coalescing into another woman beside a magical wooden door, bearing a tiger's sigil. "You have passed the first trial," the newcomer's voice echoed. "Are you ready for your next beast, Supreme?"